great Thursday, everyone, and welcome to a Trading with OC. Just like it says in here. Finally, I got my name. Hey, mama, look at that. I got my name on a big, giant YouTube announcement, right? Other than that, guys, welcome. Thank you very much for joining today. Hopefully you had a great day. Not only that, amazing movements had happened. Also, Bitcoin in the boring zone. Still, I think we have a lot to understand of it and also learn from it. Nonetheless, let's get started with you guys because you guys rock. Let me get you guys first. Alexandra G, the Queen Mod. Welcome, Alexandra. Nice to have you here. Thank you so much, JC Glue, my friend. This guy, it is 2 a.m. on his side of the world. Thank you so much for coming in here. A quick shout out to you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the knowledge at 2 a.m. You're one of mine, by the way. Jesse, all said, what's up, all said, welcome, great to see you here. Also, who else we got in here? Killy Pent, what's up, ready to learn, absolutely. Hey, all said, hey, what's up, all guys? So here, who else is in here? I think that's all for now. Yeah, I think that's all of us. Nonetheless, guys, let's get it. Today's gonna be a little bit of a short episode, short chapter, as you can read. This is chapter 8.1, triangles, right? Let's just visit the second part of the triangles. Let's also remember what we talked about and see evolution, morphology of triangles and patterns, and then finally a couple of more tips and tricks to trade them. So let's get it. Oh, why is it not meant today? By the way, I have no audio from here, so I just know that it's playing audio because the things are just moving. Man, it's just not been my day today with technology. I don't know why. It's starting in the morning. Let me see if I just can get this fixed very quickly. There we go. Finally. All right, something that was actually easy. All right, let's remember, guys, where we left out today. And KDGT, what's up, brother? Hey, Mr. Harp, welcome, my friend. Welcome. Great to have you guys in here. Sorry about that. My dog just went bananas on me. All right, let's just stay where we talked about it here. What is Bitcoin doing, right? So, guys, remember that a smart guy, smart woman, smart men, well, it's usually they're gonna be changing their opinion based on new information. It's out of smart people to change opinion, right? Why? Because if humanity wouldn't change opinion, I think we'll all be stuck in the flat earth theory or whatever other theory, right? Regardless if it's true or not. All right, let's just do that wink effect here. Mark Dodge, welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the party. All right, so what am I just bringing this up? Has anything changed? Not really, right? Just slightly things are changing. And let me zoom out and tell you guys. Let's remember yesterday we were looking at our oscillator, right? What was happening here? A possible rejection to the downside, and also I mentioned a possible goose head. We're going to be talking about goose heads farther in the courses, right? Don't worry about it. So most likely it was looking a little bit more bearish. We were also contemplating the possibility that we bounce and then break through the upside. In fact, we actually compare it to this zone, and also we compare it to this zone, and also we compare it to, I don't quite remember, this other zone, right? The difference back yesterday in these areas in here, it was that the goose head was already into the green. And I'm not 100% sure if I mentioned this on the last class or it was on today's class. I was, all right, if for some miracle we start breaking through, that's gonna be my go. All right, my go to where? To just start changing from bearish to bullish, right? Because why? Remember yesterday we talked about being neutral. Why? Because we were above dynamic reactor, bullish. We were below the zero line, bearish, but now we're back above the dynamic reactor and back above the zero line, both bullish. Also, what we got here, a consolidation score, a big consolidation score, almost getting to breakout numbers, right? Remember 8, 9, and 10 are breakout numbers. A prime score is still pretty bullish. I mean, one more than it should be, so 5 is bullish. 6 it's a little bit more bullish, right? Or 5 is neutral, 6 is bullish, so on and so forth. And we have a low volatility. What would that low volatility tell me? It is telling me that we can still be within that movement, all right? So what is up? So yesterday we mentioned the possibility, right, to start looking for a rounded top, lose the zero line, lose that also dynamic reactor in zero line, and then visiting lows, right? Could that happen? It can still happen, all right? It can still happen. We could be into one of this, all right? So brother, man, I mean, come on now. See, you how can I get a clean answer from you? You can't, right? Squeeze it, but you can, man. And this is not because I don't want to. I mean, I wish to tell you, you know what, this is gonna happen, and then just like magic would happen. If that would have been the case, well, then I would not be teaching here. I'll be buying lottery tickets, and then, or just bought Bitcoin like, I don't know, 2 cycles ago, right? So if I would have known the future. But what I can tell you are possibilities, and what I can teach you, it is weighing down those possibilities, right? At the end of it all, we move with math, right? We take a look at what the math said, where is it weighted at, and then we start, I'm going to say this quotation, betting, right? Because we're not betting, we're using TA, technical analysis, to use or to put our money where the ads are onto, all right? That doesn't mean that somebody just came in here and can't sell, right? Because if they just sell, like a big whale decides to sell, we're gonna have one of those candles to the downside. There's nothing, there's no science, there is no math, there is nothing that can warn you against that, other than going so high into the time frame that whatever can be manipulated for a single entity, it will just be confused with just a little bit of a disparity or a noise between a trend, all right? Other than that, let's get in. Let's see what else we can talk about here. So remember, at this point, I have new information. What is the new information? What has changed? What it has changed, it is the position of my oscillator, all right? So at this point, what am I thinking? Well, this is positive. I still can have maybe a fake out, right? And then turn around. But what can I be using at this point? Well, let me give you a little secret. Who would benefit for liquidations? Don't tell me. I think you already know, all right? But I think that has to do with brokers. Already said, all right. Brokers, of course, brokers. So who is interested to move the market? Maybe brokers, or maybe somebody that owns a broker, or maybe somebody that has a different position and he has a lot of money. So they will make much more money out of you getting liquidated and then the price coming back to where it was originally, right? So for that, we can start using something like liquidations by chart prime. Let me see if I can just minimize this to get the most out of this zone. Perfect. There we go. We have, oh, liquidity hunter. Oh, this is a good one, by the way. We don't have liquidations. Oh man. All right, let's just get the EMAs out of the planning here, because we have our SMA combo. All right. So let's add liquidations. It's a free indicator. Here is liquidations by chart prime, the one with 2.5k. There's another one that looks a little bit more slick, but I like to have the small liquidations in hand, right, so I can see them. So something that you also will notice, it is my liquidation chart is changing the color of what of my charts. I don't want that. Why I don't want that? Because if you have chart prime and you have your market oracle pro plus, you will already have a candle highlight here, right? So I'd rather have my candle highlight. Another thing that you may not want it to, it is because remember that we have a free indicators. One of those free indicators, it is right here, our linear regression oscillator, right? And there we go. We can have the plot bar color, basically giving us a much sleeker and much more informative color right there. All right, so for some of those reasons, you may not want to have the liquidations colorizing your charts, right? If you ask me, I'd rather not to have the colors in here, and then just have either my linear regression, my prime oscillator, or my market oracle pro. All right, any of those colorizing my trends. So how am I going to be changing them? Let's go to liquidations and let's look for something about candles here. maybe we can just go like, let me see if that affects. Oh yeah, it does. So let's not do that. I can also change the background color, bar color. There we go, much better. So let's just get rid of that. And lines, I'm gonna leave them. And the table, here's the table by colors. Since I cannot, I don't know about you guys, but please don't tell me that you can distinguish. I mean, if you tell me that you can distinguish those colors, you need to talk to MJ. All right, because I would swear when I'm talking to her that I'm colorblind, which I'm not. All right, so I'm just gonna get out of the way. This table gone. All right, click MJ. I know she's coming, so at any point she's gonna come slapping in the head. All right. Other than that, let's take a look at what we have in here. We have liquidations. What is liquidations? Basically, whoever 10x, 5x, 20x, 75, 100x, whatever, right? But remember, if you really want to know, remember that we have a bot built up. Let me see if I can bring it up for you guys, just as a quick reminder. Right? We remember I also posted this on the Piper Academy show, on the Piper Academy, Discord, right? And then here it is. Of course, here it is. And then here is my chart. All right, let me just pass it over here so you guys can see it. And if you really want to see how that device, if you have a 2x leverage, you have a 50% stop loss. If you have a 100x leverage, you have a 1% stop loss. You want this, pause the video, take a screenshot, or better yet, go check out the notations or the class notes on the Piper Academy. I post them every single class, and if we have shown or built something like that. Another important thing that I'm going to be explaining, it is, for example, this in here. This, for example, we use this as an example in one of the private classes to explain the OM cryptocurrency falling back down, and just so you guys can see it. All right, so I'm going to be posting that on the Piper Academy Discord, and also a couple of other things that might be very interesting for you guys. So, for example, like a couple of questions, like, all right, if it's is proof of work or proof of stake, and usually what does that mean? So it gives you a full breakdown, just as a curious. Remember to use the tools that we'll build up here. They're gonna make your understanding and your life much easier. All right, other than that, it means that whoever's in here, let's just call for good measure, I don't know, the 30x, all right, or 40x. If we get the pricing here, the 40x that are what? Shorting, right? They're gonna get liquidated. When you get liquidated, what you do, or what does your broker do on your behalf? If you get liquidated, you sell your assets to repay your debt with your bank, or to repay the debt with your broker. All right. So what usually is going to happen? Well, then usually we're going to be seeing the price action flowing to that zone. Why? It's just easy money if it's worth it. How could we maybe see if it's worth it? Well, we can add 1 hour tools in here, which is the VPVR. Let's see basically how much volume was up there, and look at that. This one, all right, maybe was, holy Jesus, look at that. I mean, would that volume be worth taking? Maybe. All right, or is it better or faster to take all the way down here? Well, then I would say that it's gonna be faster and easier to manipulate the price going all the way up here, especially when we're talking about futures, expiring futures. All right, just so you know. Let's see, join the Piper Academy. Oh, thank you so much for that, Alexander G. Let's see who else we got in the chat. We have Harp, of course. Already have shout you out. Mike Play, what's up, brother? Welcome. Of course, Mark Dodge, already shout you out, brother. Welcome to the show. In Retro Mike Take. Hey, what's up, Retro Mike Take? What's up, brother? Welcome to the class. So remember, take a seat and start throwing some balls. Holy balls! There we go. There we go. Amazing. All right. So let's jump now. Let's just wrap this up, right? And then let's jump to the to today's purpose of the class, right? So, chapter 8.1 triangles. So the most possible scenario here, at least for an interest or manipulation standpoint, will be going somewhere around this area where there is a lot of disparity, right? Where there is a, I mean, that big of a volume. It's not that big, to be honest, but also we can see absorption zones, right? Areas of rejection to a possible breakout, then maybe retest, and if we can hold that retest, off we go. Nonetheless, remember that we also have the Wyckoff schematics, right? Here's Wyckoff schematics. Hopefully it doesn't burn your eyes. Here it is. And remember that we enter on this bounce, which equals this bounce. And then we try to cut, where is it? Here it is. We try to cut this secondary bounce downwards for then take the next movement to the upside, which in my opinion, which is very, I mean, at this point, very weirdo looking like, but would have been here. So taking that one took me out, getting back in at the second candle, and right now I'm still on that long from this area. I'm happily gonna get stopped out. Okay, I'd rather give away my stop loss in here, hunting a possible scenario where I go up. Nevertheless, if remember what we talked about yesterday, change, evolve with the times will guarantee your survival. What we have in here, we still have a possible rounded top in here, and if we break down what is going to be my next entry, retest, shorting, or head switching, and off we go to our next support area. All right, so there we go. Liquidation point, very nice when you start saying not that really rally to the upside, but still you're getting back into the bullishness. All right, so let's jump back into the main meat and potatoes of this class. So triangles, what is up with triangles? All right, today we're going to be taking a look at a couple of morphology of the triangles, right? Remember that yesterday we explored the possibility when we have just few information, how we can start maybe thinking that we have either a triangle, or in this case we had a wedge, right? And then we have a breakout, retest, maybe going for that short, and you see that you're bouncing back up and recuperating that entry. You cut your losses right there, and then you start aiming for maybe a change of structure or break of structure, right? And that would be creating a lower high, so higher high, higher high, lower high right here, and then it needs to come with a lower low. Which low from here? Usually aiming to another important zones right here. So as long as we don't have the next movement, which is a lower low, I'm not going to be turning back bearish, all right? Another thing about morphology, as much as we have, or as soon as we have new information, a couple of more candles, it is important to go back and review our charts just to make sure that triangle is still there, or if we see any kind of transformation. Right, so far maybe I can go like this because I have, remember our classes of support and resistances and trend lines. We can have, look at that, area of rejection, zone of rejection, area of rejection, or point of rejection. All right, so I would say that this will be the anomaly right here, or the fake out, and then we have a much cleaner line up there. What else do we have? Bottom, and maybe bottom. Can I do maybe a straight line in here? Yeah, and it looks almost perfect, right? So I now, instead of a rising wedge that breaks to the downside, now it has transformed, right? So that's why we talk about morphology, the morph, or the how it looks, the shape of a triangle or a triangular pattern, right? French toaster, what is so, my boy? Welcome. Go ahead, take a seat and start trying some paper balls or any kind of holy balls. Welcome, my friend. All right, Mrs. OC just getting home. Hello, honey. All right. So let's see what else we got in here. So at this point, we have changed between, right? Remember that we had slide, up-ranging wedge, which usually breaks to the downside. That's the psychology of this. And now we have, based on the new morphology, based on the new data, based on that with new data, we change of opinion and we are willing to go back, right? Reanalyze and set new bases and then analyze based on those bases, right? That is what a scientific does. So based on that, I'm not calling myself scientific, by the way, but that's what they also do. All right, so nonetheless, we have a triangle. Why is it a triangle? Remember yesterday we learned that triangular patterns or triangles, they actually converge into a point up in the future, while wedges, they usually aim at the same direction, right? Either up-ranging or down-ranging on wedges, right? While triangles have opposite direction lines with a converging zone, all right? So right here, we're turned back into a triangle. What kind of triangle this is? Remember that you don't need to guess, but we can take a look at a couple of those. Now, before I tell you which one is it, by the way, let me know on the side chat, on the chat right here, which triangle you think we're having. And based on your answers, I'm gonna be giving you guys an answer. But yeah, let's go and go over the things I promised yesterday, that we're gonna be taking a look at a couple of zones, or not zones, but how could I call this? I don't know, resources online, right? This time we're gonna be skipping the Academy from Binance. I mean, it's a great resource. I do encourage you guys go and check it out. But another great resource, right? It is Investopedia, right? So let me just copy this one here. Let me paste it over to you guys. So you're gonna have it here, pasting it right now, so you guys can follow along. Remember, we're not part of Investopedia or anything. I just want you to have this link on hand so you can then research whatever you need, all right? We have triangle patterns in technical analysis explained. We already have gone through most of this, right? But here it is. Remember, flat triangles, they usually break to the upside. Flat triangles, of course, with the flatness down, it breaks to the downside, and then symmetrical triangles 50-50, all right? Look at that. If we just extend that much this line, there's this red line all the way from here, we could be transforming it into, depending of where we are, we could be transforming it into a bullish pennant, all right? So guys, have you put out your answer in the chat? What kind of triangle do we have right now? Let me read you guys. Let me read you. All right, any kind of triangle, let me know. All right, seems like I have a what? A ginger shot. All right, courtesy of Mrs. OC. Nice, let's try, why not? Let me see, what kind of triangles? Range wars. All right, guys, let me know what kind of triangle we got. And up and then up. Oh my God. Not good. All right. Not good at all. All right, perfect. Jesus. I really thought it was gonna taste good, man. Oh my goodness, don't do that. All right. It freaking burns. Don't trust your wife, guys. Yeah, damn right. Oh man. All right, moving forward. Oh, healthy OC, they say. Jesse Glue says healthy OC. Oh man, I'm gonna get like, I don't know. Dude, I'll finish it. Yeah, I know. But I'll finish it later. Let's go back to that thing. All right, so we have a symmetrical triangle. Why? Because it is not flat at the top, neither flat at the bottom. So anything else, it will create a symmetrical triangle, all right? So, all right, sorry about that. Man, it's not disgusting, but it's just so strong. All right, and it burns. So, man, an engagement went up. Pass me another one. Seems like I got more views. Oh, guys, you're killing me, literally. That face, Jesse says. Cheers for Intoster, my friend. All right. So if we don't have a flat top triangle and we don't have a flat bottom triangle, but it's also not a wedge, remember, for it to be a wedge, we need to have both trend lines going one way, all right? Either this way or this way. So it is not. It is a pointing different ways, so one up, one down. Man, it burns. All right, one up, one down, and then it's not a flat top, neither a flat bottom. So that makes it a symmetrical triangle. Is it really symmetrical? Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. It's ridiculous to call it like that, but what can I say? I mean, coming from architectonic, being an architect and then a trader, what can I tell you? I do have my short circuit things in here when learning these things, but that is the literature, all right? Let's go over a little bit more of the ascending triangles, right? We're gonna be taking a look at what happens here, and finally, we're gonna be just giving you a couple of tips and tricks, all right? Ascending triangles, blah blah blah. We already have talked about this. They usually have a very nice topping here at the top. It doesn't need to be perfect, but mostly top-ish, right? Or flat-ish, and then usually try break to the upside. This kind of triangles, I want you to notice they usually have kind of like a little hump in here, right? And we talked about that pattern. We talked about that pattern in Bitcoin. Bitcoin love to have that kind of like pattern. But in my experience, you'll find, okay, that pattern, right? Then the high, and then we have this in here. Usually in my experience, when Bitcoin does that, we usually have a symmetrical triangle, all right? Not always a flat top triangle, but just so you know, this is something interesting that happens, or you can still find in Forex or any other trade 5, right? Still on Bitcoin, this is kind of like the way it goes, and you'll find this kind of movements over and over and over, all over the place, all right? Like this. Again, look at that little hump. Next one, we can create the triangle, press to upwards, right? So itty bitty one in here, create a triangle, right? And then upwards. So I'm telling you, it kind of like does it like a lot. So I already have removed everything, including what was in here. So let me just Control C this till we have. There we go, much better. All right, the previous pictures. All right, so what else we have in here? Well, we have, of course, the descending triangle. We talked about this last class. And finally, symmetrical triangles, 50-50. Not really a definition on how to break. But here's where this class comes into place. Now let's take a look at tip in how those symmetrical triangles usually break, in my opinion, in my personal experience. For that, let's take a look at, for example, this one here, all right? And like maybe like that, or maybe I can grab this lows. Perfect. I think that will be it. All right. This is going to be a little bit of a caveat, but I still want to analyze these along with other ones. Like, for example, let me show it to you. Like, for example, this one in the lower time frames, right? So yeah, in this case, we will need to go lower. So let's first get this one, and we need a little more candles per cycle to understand the psychology of it. So let's go to the 15 minutes and analyze that part. All right, perfect. Seems like we are in here. Usually, I tell you guys, do a median, right? And let me turn off my indicators, because at this point, depending on your strategy, all right, you can predict something and that something turns around. But that's because you are not including volume. We're going to talk about that volume, all right? But here's the first part of this analogy, right? And in this case, went the other way around, but still stick with me, all right? Usually we go for a kind of like a line in there, right? If you don't like a line because it doesn't give you a center point, don't worry, go for a box. Here we go, a box. Just go at the top, at the bottom, and you have roughly a center point to get started with, right? And then you just, let's even say that we don't have this part, right? So let's just say that we are somewhere around here. You can do something like this, and you also see a little bit of the center. So just connect the two dots in here, and you'll see that you have the median, right? It's not actually the center of the triangle, but it's the centroid of the triangle. It's kind of like it's balanced, right? Here is the importance Usually when we are into a pattern like this, we want the first bounces to be complete. All right, when we don't have that completion of the bounces, we see the weight, right, the weighted volume not evenly distributed. And how can I tell? Remember the little trick that we learned on our oscillator, right? Where is the weight of this movement? I mean, where is the empty space, right? Right down here. But then you start seeing, hey, I broke below, so I should be going bearish. Am I going bearish? Yes. Did I grab the liquidity here? Not fully. Why? Because I'm still pushing upwards, right? And then you start seeing the shipment of volume. But bear with me, let's not go there just now, all right? This is, at this point, I want you guys no indicator setup, because when you add your indicators, that's where you start looking for, hey, now my perspective has changed because I have that much more information. All right, so let's just make it quick. Where the bulk of the action is usually what we are aiming it for it to break out. All right, so what happens here? Most of the action is up here and I'm not hitting the base. All right, that's fine. Most of the action is here and then I'm not hitting the base. In this case, I did with one candle. Perfect. All right. Now most of the action is in here in one candle, two candle break it. This is usually telling me that I still have, right, a little bit of buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure, buying pressure. Still, with every knock of the door, I both take out some liquidity, especially at the top, because, and this is where the analogy comes in, because this is not a flat top triangle. If this would have been a flat top triangle, right, we know that we're sustaining, let me do it this a little more realistic. Going up, down, right? We're sustaining the momentum or volume needed to hit the tops at the same level and not lose it. But in this case, it's not. It's like a battery, right? Or a charge something. You go and you weaken yourself, but you also weaken the trend line. You weaken yourself because you did not hit the previous high. So you're having lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, right? Still, this is pushing for a high. Guys, when symmetrical triangles start peaking upwards, be careful because they can very much reverse on yourself or on themselves, all right? And this one played out. I said it did not play it out, but it did play it out perfectly. I don't know why I said it did not play it out perfectly, but it did. Why? Because it is not a symmetrical triangle. Based on my experience, when we have a not symmetrical triangle, sorry, because this is a symmetrical triangle, it went the other way around, all right? When we have the other way around, and it's a flat top, well, that's why we have, you know, a greater chance to break to the upside, all right? So you do your median, and now you see that most of the action is above, and then we start hitting without losing that momentum, all right? So that is the difference between symmetrical triangles and flat top or flat bottom triangles. If this would have been the other way around, and let me show it to you right here, for example, there is an actual, I think we can do it here, all right? And then maybe, I don't know how you want to draw it, like this. All right, we do our median, right? In this case, it ended up breaking to the upside. In this case, remember, this is unknown. But at this point, I would have been saying, hey, how much pressure do I have here, right? How much pressure? How many times am I have in the clinic? So I would have been thinking breakout retest, off we go. This one went the other way around. Let's go and take a look at one of the famous ones, all right? That is, and let's go to the daily. That is the previous cycle. What is it not? Oh, I see. I need to go to Bitstamp. depending on how you draw this, well, this is gonna be a symmetrical triangle because this is not flat, you see. Well, not symmetrical triangle, could be depending on the on if you're taking, for example, this one in here before the sweep of the lows. This is what I was saying while was happening. You had a pointing upwards, pointing downwards, right? Remember that we are ignoring this itty bitty part just for now, because when it was playing out, this is what was leading the way. All right, we do our symmetrical thing here, and what happens? We have knock, 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 knock. There we go. Breakout, retest, off we go. All right, so there it is. Let's go and take a look at the next things in here. Let me just go back into the 15 minutes. And where do we have it? I think there it is. All right, the 4 hours and finally the 15 minutes. Now there's a couple of things that I want you guys to notice and take note of, right? Let me find another set of triangles in here. Something new. All right. In this, oh, I know what I'm missing. Sorry about this. The 15 minutes. This one here. Now we start adding our indicators, all right? Prime oscillator, for example. And how do I see the shift of weight? Look at it, above, below, and then above, below, and itty bitty above. Much more below, right? Itty bitty above, much more below. Itty bitty above, much more below. You see that? Now, other than the non-indicators, just looking at my momentum on my oscillator, I can start seeing how the volume is shifting downwards. All right. Hey, do we have Crypto Billy in the house? Welcome, my friend. JB, welcome. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Hey, and I have Maho Move. That is Mrs. OC. That's the girl that just tried to both kill me and save my life. And the damn things still have the white stuff below, so it was not as strong as it should have. Damn, that was a big one. Holy Jesus. All right, that's gonna be an offline shot, I promise. Maybe at the end of the show. All right, I'll do it on camera at the end of the show. What else in here? So you see how now we start shifting our opinion based on volume. Let's do the same thing here with the next triangle. For example, this one here. All right, it broke to the upside. Let's draw our median. Our median's pushing to the upside, so we usually start looking for, hey, we are going weaker, right? We're going weaker, but what or how could we maybe predicting this? Let's actually take a look at what our volume. All right, so how is the volume shifting? Let me just put this out of the way. Let me make this one a little bit bigger. Let's hide also this thing, and let's see our oscillator. How is our oscillator doing? All right, same top and the bottom, slightly charged at the bottom. All right, same at the top of the bottom, slightly charged at the bottom. All right, so we should be into a big range or into a wave range. Perfect. All right, so I can maybe start thinking of ranging, and then boom, lost it. All right, lost it, and I was a little bit bullish here, right? Stay a little bit bullish here, lost it, and then what happening? Ooh, this is hard to start reading because it's migrating from down to the upside. But let's just call for this area where we have one full peak below to where we have one peak above. All right, what it's telling me? Going from downwards to upwards in here, upwards. All right, now I have created a bigger box than this other box. All right, so let me see if I can, you know what, let's do it with boxes. I think it's gonna be much easier to identify, right? The size of the boxes, where the accumulation of those boxes until we break to the downside, right? Then let's ignore this. Oh, there is another big box in here, so let me just get rid of this. All right, big box in here, and what is it? Where is the volume shifting now? It is shifting to the upside. You see that? Symmetrical triangle, unknown breakout. But if we take a look at the oscillator here, we can see how many boxes below. One. All right, let's be fair with these ones here, right? But it's basically one, it's contracting the other one here. Right, let's go. If I accumulate the size of the boxes below, right, and let's do it. Why not? Let's do it. Boxes above and boxes below. All right, boxes above. Oh, not that one. Come on. Oh, I can't, man. I can't. Oh, Jesus. All right. So I guess I cannot migrate it from one to another. But if we start accumulating them, and I think I know how can I do this. All right, like this, like that, and like that. And then let's accumulate this one here and this one there. Which one has much more volume? Upper boxes, right? And no lower boxes. So what is it telling me? What is going to be the breakout to the upside? All right, let's apply that right now. Shouldn't we? Let's do it. All right, now let's go all the way down here. Do we have any kind of triangle? Kind of. And guess what? What kind of triangle it is? It is a symmetrical triangle. All right. Why? Because it doesn't have a flat top, neither a flat bottom. So I know it's not what I like, but still symmetrical triangle. So let's do the same thing. Oh, there is a box in here to the upside. Where did I start? I started here measuring. Let's do it. All right. Let's do it. Right here, a little box. Bigger box. Bigger box, slightly box in here. Maybe I can count. And why not? Let's just do it. I usually skip those itty bitty pie pieces, right? And it's still a work in progress, right? So let's just go and see which one has the most strength. Let me just everything pay rate from this one. So where is it right now breaking through? Where is the volume breaking through? Well, it's pretty hard to tell right now because it's very close to an actually symmetrical triangle based on the volume. Look at it. We just have an itty bitty of more bearish signal here, so that could be maybe telling us that we could be breaking to the downside. All right. Then if we add out something like our SMA combo, we have the support, and we're gonna be looking if we lose the support. If we lose the support of the SMA combo, well then most likely we're already going to be taking this area. And when we create another box in here, which I guarantee you that we're going to be doing, we're going to be just basically calling it for the bearish breakout. So do you see now how we can read the volume allocation or the momentum allocation based on a symmetrical triangle? Usually there is an unknown or 50-50, but using this methodology gives you an idea of where that symmetrical triangle could be breaking through. All right, let's do it in the higher time frames because I think that will be interesting. And with that, we're gonna be calling out the class. All right, so let's go to the 4 hours. Let me double click in here. Let me zoom out. Remember, at this point, we want to avoid chunky candles here around. And let me add my trend line. So I think this is gonna be a good one. There we go. I think that will be good enough. All right. And can I have maybe, I don't have it just yet. In fact, what I have, it is something like a channel, downward channel. All right. Let's see. Nonetheless, we can apply the same thing. We're gonna go for the median, and we have much more volume to the upside, usually aiming for an upwards breakout. All right. Now, let's add our SMA. SMA combo is telling us much bearish until we break, retest, and off we go. All right. Another thing that we can do is just take a look at whether we're bullish or bearish with our indicators here, and we're bearish, trying to turn bullish. All right. We haven't taken any important major highs, so that's why we have not yet turned bullish. So now from the area that we started measuring, all right, let's start drawing our boxes. Maybe a box in here, a box in here. Let's ignore this one because they are the same, so they cancel each other. All right, so let's go for this one. This is a good one. This one, it's a good one. All right, let's go for this itty bitty one. Let's go for this other one right there. Here it is. There's almost nothing here down here, so let's go for this other one. Now we're starting to see a shift of volume right downwards, right, upwards, downwards, upwards, and that is it. So let's start just pairing the thing together. Let me know. Put a 1 in the chat if you think it's gonna break bullish, or put a 2 in the chat if you think that we're gonna be breaking bearish. And finally, we have the bullishness on our side. All right. So most of the action, it's above, right? And usually that indicates that we could be going outwards. This is not a symmetrical triangle. This is a range, right? And then the volume is giving us a bullish perspective because we have most volume above the zero line, which is our threshold, basically going or aiming to break to the upside. All said says 2, Alexander says 1, JB 1.5. Dang it. No, you're fine, guys. You're fine. I mean, just by looking at it, it's a little bit hard, but when we start measuring stuff like this with geometry, things start revealing a little bit themselves, right? So don't be afraid to try it. I think this is going to be a fun little project where you can start saying, hey, you know what? It will be like, all right, is this pattern a non-breakout? Don't worry, I got a trick under my sleeve. Let me just pull it out, right? And start predicting, right? Maybe this is turning faces to the upward movement, right? And remember, what are we doing? Remember at the beginning of the class, where is my long? I enter here, stop me out in here, re-enter here, and I'm still on that long, right? Why? Because the volume calculation on this part. So remember, if this flops downwards, I could be longing the top, which is not something that we should be doing. Therefore, we have to have a stop loss, all right? If then we have a flat pause of bullish continuation, your re-entry is at the top of the range with the flip of the ribbon, and the off we go. All right. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining today. And guys, have a beautiful rest of your day. This is going to be it for triangles. If you have any questions about triangles, please let me know. Tag me at OC Guide, please, so I can read it. Any questions, and I'll show it tomorrow on the late class. If not, tomorrow we're just going to be another recap, and then Monday we're going to be looking at the next pattern systems, right? So double tops, double bottoms, so on and so forth. Other than that, guys, thank you so much, and as always, see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, she said that I need to finish this thing. Dude, this is... Let me go to standalone. You want to stay for this? All right, look at that. There's a white stuff at the bottom. It doesn't look good. Man. I should have smelled this before, man. It's very strong. It doesn't smell bad. It smells pretty good. Pretty strong, but... All right. Let's do it. Shit. What? It burns and it doesn't taste. It's pretty bad. All right, don't do that stuff. Other than if your wife would just give it to you, man. Shit. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And I guess I'll have to drink so much anti-acid today, and have a great night. Other than I wouldn't. So sleep for me, guys, and see you guys tomorrow. I guess if I'm still alive.